Okay, so this would be phase 3. I've updated the code a little bit. I just want to talk a little bit about it and then talk about the latest update to what's going on. This is phase 3 of the trigger I'm building for my coworker. So first up is I have created a product for this so that I can track version number and I can create firmware and potentially update a fleet if I needed to. We'll talk about that in a second. I just want to talk about the little addition I've made is I've added a button. I've added a switch so that you can trigger the solenoid if you're standing at the actual box. I realized that the solenoid would be covering the button that would allow them to actually trigger it with their hand. So I'm adding a switch to make up for that. Also, I'm doing two more things and two more timers, and I'm not using delay, and I'd like to discuss not using delay. The problem with delay is anything after it has to wait while it happens. So if I were to say, instead of saying this pause for the solenoid to trigger, and I put a delay of 4 seconds, none of this other code would work until that delay left. So instead what you do is you check against a time, and once you run through it, if it doesn't happen, it just goes to the next one and checks against it. So I've set up 3 different timers so that I can track 3 different items. And the one item that's most interesting that I just discovered is if you are running a device, a particle device, for more than 24 hours, you really should resync that device to the particle cloud to keep the time synced up. So I have set a day amount, 86,400,000 milliseconds, to do a pause, to do a check after that amount. Reset your day, so resync to the time of the particle system, and keep yourself in sync. And this allows me to not worry about whether or not my coworker, leaves his particle running indefinitely. He totally can, because this is going to stay in sync every day. And the other one is a much shorter 500 milliseconds, so every half second, 500 millisecond pause or check to see if the button has been pressed. This is a fairly long pause, but if you hold the button and you hear the click of the solenoid, you would release the button. And that button allows them to trigger it from the box itself. So that's that. As for the product, I've created this product so that I can add a device, say more than one person wants to have one of these. They're like, oh, I saw you built a little button presser for Ben. I would love to have one of those. So this way I can do that. I can track my firmware here. I could make him a customer. I'm not going to do that, but I could make him a customer. And this is where my integration for my webhook will be so that I can connect to it. I don't think it's called a webhook actually, but whatever. It'd be my integration for triggering this function from a web page. And then of course authentication, which I would need to create a client to do that, but this allows me to keep the product safe from you nasties that are messing around. And that's that. So yeah, pretty excited by this new phase. Hopefully the next phase is I'll be working on the integration itself. Yeah, that's it.